The Mr. Boat supported 125 GP and 250 mono in association with their super light class as well. So we've got two classes out there but in the same race, and they separated by about 30 odd metres on the grid. So it is the super light boys that go off fast, a little bit more horsepower there than some of our smaller 250 and 125 boys, but some great racing in the super light class yesterday. Dennis Charlotte set pole on the wobbly 400, but now that's given him a bit of grief, so he's set to go on the 650 twin. Gets a great start on the Chris Huddleston got a good start on the outside there. The 70 of Jacob Stroud didn't quite get the Kramer off the line very well, and then look back to our Biggles Racing 250 boys there. So the Biggles Racing 250 of Jason Hearn there gets the whole shot ahead of Yanni Shaw in the 250 class. So we'll try and keep an eye on two classes in the same race.
Now there goes Yanni. We can just see him getting some legs there on Jason. Wow, in fact that looks like he flicked the turbo button on almost the way he was able to rocket clear of Jason. Remembering Jason came back yesterday. We saw this a little bit last weekend as well, because Yanni, of course, the visitor from Australia, never been to levels here before, so yesterday's all a learning day, and he got pipped on the line by Jason. It's the same happened on Saturday at Ruapuna, another virgin track for him last weekend, and then he got better and better on the Sunday with more track time, and I'm suggesting he's going to be doing the same here today. So just fabulous to see how they're rocking and turning up, and looking forward. It's the battle within the battle, because of course we see the front runners with the super lights. They're generally that little bit quicker, so they get away. Although in saying that, here at Levels, being more of a rider's track, it's brings the play field down a little bit and makes it a little bit more even. So great to see, and well done.
There's the update there. Dennis Charlotte through in first place, holding off the 68 of Chris Huddleston, with the Jacob Stroud Kramer in third. Johnny Lewis there got his, we had bike problems yesterday, but he's got his bike going there. That's Chris Fiore there in fifth place. So all five of the Superlight riders out first, second, third, fourth and fifth on the race. And we see the 650 of Dennis Charlotte getting swamped down by the 450. Chris Huddleston's going to sneak up the inside. We've got a change for the lead as they head into the left-hander. We've got Jacob Stroud there in third place as well, with Johnny Lewis on another one of the 450 machines. A 600 machine in its previous life. He disable a cylinder, make it a 450 machine. Then we see a change for the lead now with Dennis Charlotte up the inside into the McKissick curve. So the little 650, a little bit lighter and a little bit easier to manoeuvre around the sweeping left-hander. So Dennis Charlotte will lead into the hairpin. So some big legs down the back straight, already been undone by Dennis Charlotte in the tight little part of the track. So a great little track for some different style of bikes, but it is Dennis Charlotte that will lead into the bus stop.
And this is more the production-based motorbike as well, remembering, so he hasn't got the wobbly here, which is the modified Yamaha RD 400 two-stroke, so he's instead got the production-based Pro Twin, so he would not expect to be winning in this kind of company, and that's what happened yesterday, that he got away to a good start, but the faster bikes were able to reel him in. But one thing that was said by one of his competitors, Chris Huddleston, is that the 450 can't really get into that advantage of the power, because there is only this one big long straight. The rest of it is where it comes down to the rider, and that's where Dennis Charlotte certainly has that advantage. So nice work there by Dennis to watch him today.
Yeah, so we're just catching the update now with Johnny Lewis and Jacob Stroud. So they've had a little bit of an altercation on the track. They're not sure what happened there, but they are definitely dropped right back there as we watch Dennis around the outside into the sweeping left-hander. The McKissick curve, he goes back into the lead around the outside, and we see Chris Huddleston have to settle for second as they head up into the hairpin. So we'll have to see if there's anything Chris can do to try and shut down the advantage that Dennis gets on that second half of the lap. We have a look at Chris Fiore now up into third place, so he'll be happy with that, and he's right on the tail of this top two pack. So Chris Fiore, great ride from him, definitely one to watch. In third place at the moment. Then you go Yanni Shaw, who's now got a Formula 3 bike, or a super light bike rather, in between him and Jason Hearn. So Jason getting a little bit undone by some other class traffic in there.
Well, Christopher, we've seen him in the past up in 600 racing, and he's apt enough rider to be in there, but instead he said, hey, for my budget I get more bang for my buck by doing two classes, so he has the opportunity to ride with a super light. He's also got a 300 bike as well, so the international rider, he's only been in New Zealand for a few years, and he has the opportunity to go. He sort of does, he's a bit of a summertime hunter, as it were, that he'll in our New Zealand winter he'll go back into Germany and spend some time back over there, friends, family and contract working that he does. So just love loving his lifestyle, and he's loving being back on the racetrack and showing, as Brad is pointing out, that he's putting in some great motors and getting better back here. He missed us last year. He still stayed over in Europe, so to have him back here in the country and enjoying his racetrack's good for him. And although being Auckland based when he is here in New Zealand, a long way from home here at Level, so as other riders do, time to become accustomed to the circuit. But Brad, I think we've got the change.
Yeah, we have the lead change, and he's had to do it pretty tough, defending all through the hairpin into the bus stop. So Chris Huddleston will now lead as they cross the line, so he'll be stoked with that. He's taken the lead down the back straight every lap so far this race, but Dennis has been able to get him back. This time Dennis has not been able to get him back, so Chris Huddleston will lead onto the back straight, and we'll watch that Yamaha 450 engine just pull away there. And Cta Fiore, he's really reeling those two in, so this is now turning into a full-on three-way fight for the lead, with Jacob Stroud in fourth place, and then the Moto 3 battle in behind it. Bjarne Shaw only just ahead of Jason Hearn, so that's definitely one we'll keep our eyes on, that battle there.
Yeah, just unsure as to why we're seeing the little drop back there from the number 70 of Jacob Stroud. So a bit of bad luck for Jacob. He's normally running in amongst those guys. It's Cta Fiore who's actually unseated him from his conventional position in there. So would have thought that bike would have packed a fair bit of punch and been good on the circuit, as we were almost going to see the change. Thought we were going to see Dennis squeeze through there. Look at that, the little bike can do the work, but Chris Huddleston holds on, and then we're, oh man, he's got more of the track to ride. He's all over the place, but it's the advantage of Chris Huddleston that's trying to hold through in the front there. So remembering two races within the race super lights, or as we used to call it, Formula 3 class. So we have a small bike, small capacity of different configurations of bike, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, along with singles, triples and multis, depending on what their CC capacity is as to their, I suppose you'd say, homologation of the class to ride. And it's a good sort of a Kiwi garage shed job that sees a lot of these bikes, like the 450 down from the 600, and seeing out there, of course, the 650 twin in amongst them, and so effectively 450s and 650s out there. And you'd think, well, a 650 surely 200cc, but no, not when it's effectively a super sport 600 bike with one cylinder sleeve down, and giving it, of course, all of the handling, all of the geometry and the suspension and the braking and the control of a beautiful 600, just missing a mere 150cc on it. So good balanced bike there as we're watching the battles go on, and we finally seeing the fight back coming in there from Jacob Stroud, are we, Brad?
Yeah, Jacob's definitely reeling in this front three. They're having a good little battle there. Cta Fiore now up into second place over Dennis Charlotte, so that'll slow Dennis down, and we'll be backing them into the 70 of Jacob Stroud. So they're into the bus stop now. Chris Huddleston's got a 10 bike length advantage. They'll cross the line, and they'll have 2 laps to go with now Cta Fiore in second place. Then go back to the 15 of Dennis Charlotte on the Mega Motorcycle Centre Underground Brown SV650 twin. Not the bike he was qualified on, but now he's with bike problems had to run the twin this weekend. And the 70 of Jacob Stroud now right on the back of them. So that's now like a full-on 4-way fight with Jacob Stroud. That Kramer definitely looks fast. Fastest bike on track, a 1:07.738. So Jacob Stroud, fastest man on track, with some clear track ahead of him. He'll definitely, with 2 laps to go, make this fight for the lead. Interesting it is Chris Huddleston, though, who will lead them, but there's some 125 lap traffic to get around, and definitely held Chris up a little bit there. So that's tightened up this group, this 4-way group. Now they head out of the McKissick curve up into the hairpin, and definitely nothing in it as they head right into the hairpin. It is Chris Huddleston, Cta Fiore, Dennis Charlotte, and then Jacob Stroud now. So a full-on 4-way battle, and this is going to be a hell of a last lap as they head out of there and into the bus stop.
Great to see with those big fights getting on. Here we are. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. Keep your eyes on Jacob Stroud. And, quite a mystery for me as to why we're seeing him back there that little bit, and maybe just things not quite so perfect in combination of rider and bike. But hey, he's starting to make amends for it. He was quite a way back earlier on, and now he's pushing. Who knows? He could be on the podium before this lap is out. He certainly closed the gap down, and the switch has been flicked, because in the last 2 laps he's actually had the fastest time. And there he goes. He goes past Dennis Charlotte. Dennis Charlotte with the potential to be missing out on the podium this time. So man, he's going to really love to get back in the workshop and get that wobbly working, because he is missing out on some power. That is, if you put all of those 4 bikes on the dyno, it would be his that's missing out on the power. Pure is no substitute for performance, and he's missing that at the moment, but is a great rider. That's why he's been able to battle with him. And then of course going to our 125 GP, Yanni in front of Jason, so that's effectively Australia in front of New Zealand. And look out for, I think this time, Christopher Malcolm. I think we've seen a change there, the number 27. I think he's unseated the number 5 of Campbell Grayling. That'll be a little bit of an upset after Campbell looked assured of that third place.
Yep, this battle for the podium now. We look for the super light battle. They head into the bus stop, but it is Chris Huddleston. He's got enough of a lead to get out of the bus stop and onto the front straight. Chris De Fiori is right there with a run to the line. It will be Chris Huddleston over Chris De Fiori, and then Jacob Stroud will get the third with Dennis Charlotte right there in fourth place. So there's the battle for the 250s, and it will be all run to the line. I can't call that. That is nothing in it. With Jason Hearn and Yanni Shaw, it's got it called as Yanni ahead. Definitely the fastest bike as they cross the line. 4 1,000ths of a second the line. There's Campbell. He's got up into third, so Campbell has got the third over Chris Malcolm on the double six Motorsports Moto 3 Kalex. So Team Biggles managed to get two on the podium, but Yanni Shaw has managed to get the first place in the 250 125 GP class. Whoa, there's some great racing in that little 125 class. That's some awesome battling as we see some more of them fly over the line. There's Mark de Jong and the 17 there of Aaron Lambourne, so a couple of two-stroke 125s coming through there as well. Great riding there. Another one just coming into the bus stop at the moment. That'll be one of our 125 two-stroke boys. That's Merrick Von Berto on the borrowed bike. So he's had bike problems earlier today and out on the borrowed bike. Still an awesome little 14th position there as we watch the Superlight boys roll into pit lane, and great little difference in bikes. You've got the 450 of Chris, and then you've got another 450, Chris De Fiori's one there, and then the Kramer, the single cylinder machine. Thanks to Team Lizard Racing and Kramer Bikes. Jacob Stroud managed to do all the work late in the race. Fastest lap in the end was a 1:07.7, so that's only 0.6 off lap record pace. As we'll cross down to Neil, who will have our podium.
Well, an opportunity to catch up with our podium for our Superlight class, and Jacob Stroud, it seemed as if you were only running on half a cylinder to start with. Things just didn't fire, and all of a sudden, bang, 2 in a row, the fastest laps. You started to make the ground and squeeze third place on the podium. Well done.
You know, we had a couple of problems first couple of laps. We had some engine cutting out and wasn't good when someone was right behind you in the slipstream, so we pulled the inside and it just sort of took a while to clear itself, and then we got into it and didn't really have any problems after that. And a little bit frustrating because we knew we had the pace, but you know, catching them was one thing, but passing was another. So these two boys were riding really well, and it was just making themselves as wide as possible. So it was quite hard, but we, you know, happy with third place, got some points. That's good. We'll see how terminal the Kramer is, but hopefully not too bad, and we'll be out for the next race.
Great work, and deservedly. How nice it is, personally, Chris. Nice to see you on the podium, mate. You finally made it.
Oh yeah, I didn't think I'd ever get here. I don't think I'd ever finish a race actually, but yeah, no, it's good to be here, and it was good to have a race this time, and yeah, really pleased with myself.
Yeah, and thoroughly deserve it. Well, there you go, Chris. Now, you told me last weekend you didn't think you'd do as well at levels, mate. All right, you going to eat your own words?
Yeah, well, we come up with a plan, and that was to get out front and try and control what we could, and got a good start, second into the first corner, and then down the straight we got a bit more legs than the old SV. Dennis will be a weapon when they get that wobbly right, there's no doubt about it. And hey, all the boys, there's nothing between any of our bikes and anyone's ability. It's just who's firing in that race. The True Moto Yamaha 450 is just going really, really well. We've spent so many hours on the dyno and just getting it tip top, and it's got the top end here. It's really good.
There we go. Thank you, guys. Well done. There we are with our super lights. Coming up now to our 125 250 mono, and straight on the podium. Well, yeah, when you've got two motos tied up in the same race, because we want to accommodate more classes, part of the reason why Australian visited over here is they unfortunately don't have any more of their racing in the ASBK, so we're going to accommodate them. But hey, Campbell, I was a little bit worried, mate. With a lap to go, you'd lost it, but you got it back. How was that?
It was pretty good fun battling with Chris. I knew I could get him in the twisties, but he'd get me on the straight, so I thought if he could stay in front of me on the straight, I knew exactly where I could get him, and it seemed to work, so I ended up getting third again, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Right, hey mate, you might have had the opportunity to have a go on the 250, but hey, you come back home with the 125, you still know how to ride one?
Yeah, I do know how to ride one. I've done a little bit of riding on them, so yeah, I can go relatively fast on one of them.
Yeah, you can indeed, and thoroughly deserve it as well. Well, Jason, this is almost a repeat of last weekend, because in the first race on the Saturday, you were able to get Yanni, and although you had to go back, you couldn't quite get. He becomes more familiar with the track.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing because I sort of planned it out the same as I would the last race, and it ended up getting pipped on the line, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, as always, next time. And yeah, good work, Yanni. I'd like to thank everyone for making it happen, and yeah, it's a bloody awesome weekend.
Yeah, well deserved, fantastic to watch. And Yanni, this is a place called Levels. As you can see around here, the country is a bit like it. You've got a few level ones back home as well, but what do you think of this circuit?
Yeah, fantastic circuit. Ernie got me last race, and so I knew where he got me last race. So this race, I knew he was going to make the same move, so I kind of planned for it. And when he made the move, it just tucked in, and yeah, got the run to the line. So it's a good run. Camera, I got to look at the camera. But yeah, it was a good run, really good run. Thank you everyone making it happening. D6M, my personal sponsors, Andrew's Meat, Select Fresh, Shark Leathers, everyone that makes it happen. It's absolutely awesome. Love to be here.
Thank you. Beautiful words. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Well done. 250 mono 125 class, courtesy of Mr. Boats, as we already get our 600s on the warm-up and straight into our race program today. Well done. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, guys. Great.